the Chicago Bulls a lock to take LaMelo Ball if he falls to them at the number 4 overall selection? Let's talk about it. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NBA here to talk about the Chicago Bulls. So if you're a Bulls fan and you're not subscribed to the channel, I don't know why, but you need to do so right now. I have really upped my coverage of the Bulls as we get near and closer to the draft, and now free agency is here, and before you know it, the season's going to be here, okay? So there's a lot to talk about here, and as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about, this rumor that the Bulls are supposed to be, taking LaMelo Ball if he drops to them. Before I get into that, again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe and make sure to go ahead and follow me on my social media platforms. Links down below on the screen for all that good stuff. So I'm going to break this down. Let's get into it. All right, so where is this report coming from? Well, it's coming from Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer. So a pretty decent source in terms of legitimacy. Maybe it's not to the level of a Adrian Wojnarowski or a Shams Charania, but still fairly legitimate, okay? So the report's talking about the Bulls basically not letting LaMelo Ball pass them by if he drops to the number 4 overall selection, which, again, there's no guarantee for that. LaMelo Ball could go number 1 overall. He's projected to be a top 5 pick. So what do I feel about this? Well, I think there's a little bit more than that people are not understanding or realizing here. But before I talk about that, I have to obviously give my thoughts on LaMelo Ball. So how do I feel about LaMelo Ball? How do I feel about him as a prospect? Should the Bulls take him? Well, the more I read about him, the more I watch tape on LaMelo Ball, here is my analysis. I'm not completely sold. And this has nothing to do with his dad or his family or anything like that, because we all know how annoying LaVar Ball is, okay? But I'm trying to just look at LaMelo Ball as a prospect, just take a look at him as that, putting that aside. And what I kind of see here is the same things that I saw from Lonzo Ball. Going into that draft with Lonzo Ball, I was not 100% sold on Lonzo. People thought he was going to be the next Jason Kidd. Has the potential of Magic Johnson. Okay, maybe that's a little too much, but people thought he had like that type of potential. And Lonzo Ball's been okay, but he's definitely not lived up to his number 2 overall pick selection. Oh no, he is not. Lonzo Ball is not a bad player, but number 2 overall, he's not lived up to that expectation. So in the same way that I felt about Lonzo Ball, I feel the same way about LaMelo Ball. And in a weird way, it's so funny because they're brothers. I see the same type of potential and ceiling. Like, I see LaMelo being a taller version of Lonzo, right? A guy who's a great playmaker, great passer, obviously can't shoot that well. He's got a weird jump shot. I feel like all balls have these weird jump shots. And we take a look at the Bulls and the roster itself. I mean, you've got Zach LaVine, you've got Kobe White. I mean, they play the same position here, right? I mean, LaMelo Ball is a guard. He's a tall guard, 6'7"-ish, if you will. But does he fit on this Bulls roster? Again, he would be a decent playmaker, which is what the Bulls are looking for. But in today's NBA, you need 3-point shooting, you need spacing, you need, just general shooting. LaMelo Ball doesn't provide that. And again, I'm not hating on guys that can't shoot at all, because I like Ben Simmons. But LaMelo Ball isn't an all-world defender like a Ben Simmons is, right? Ben Simmons does everything at an elite level. So I'm not saying the lack of shooting is the end-all, be-all. I'm just saying I don't see the potential of that level. I don't see the Luka Doncic type of ceiling, the hype, if you will, right? We're talking about a guy at a top 5 pick. I need that type of ceiling. So that's ultimately how I feel about LaMelo Ball. And in terms of the report itself, I believe what's going to happen is this. This report is basically saying if LaMelo falls to Bulls, they're going to make sure something happens where they get what they want. What do I mean by that? Let me explain. So we've got the board here, all right? And we've got the 4 teams here. We've got the Wolves, Warriors, Hornets, and Bulls. This is the draft order, okay? And this is what I believe happens, all right? We've got 2 scenarios. Number 1 scenario is, so this is the first scenario, is LaMelo Ball goes number 1 overall, right? So let's say he goes to the Wolves, who need a guard, right? I mean, they have D'Angelo Russell, but they could use LaMelo. Then Warriors take somebody like a James Wiseman. They need a big man. or they trade this pick, again, because they're ready to contend. And then we've got the Hornets. Let's say they take a guy like an Anthony Edwards, right? They need a wing. They needed a guy who can, score a little bit too. And then the Bulls, obviously, LaMelo's gone at this point. Maybe they take somebody like a DA, Denny Avdija, that I mentioned in other videos, and then maybe like Killian Hayes. So again, the choice becomes fairly clear because the Bulls can take a guy who can just come in, fit into their system, doesn't need the ball in his hands all the time. That's another thing about LaMelo Ball. He does need the ball in his hands all the time. So they just do that. But that's scenario number one. That's the happy path, if you will. Well, what happens now if LaMelo Ball falls? So here's scenario number two. Let's say the Wolves, instead of taking LaMelo Ball, they take Anthony Edwards. Cool. All right. Then the Warriors still take James Wiseman. All right. But the Hornets, instead of taking LaMelo, let's say they take Denny Avdija or they take a Killian Hayes. And now you've got your pick of a LaMelo Ball, of an Obi Toppin, of some guys like that. And at this point, I believe what's going to happen is the Bulls could definitely take LaMelo, but they could look to trade him, right? Trade down to get other players, a couple of picks, and have whatever team come up to get LaMelo. So yes, in a way, the report is true. The Bulls will not let LaMelo Ball slip by them at number 4 because they will make sure to trade the pick, all right, to a team that wants him so they can grab a couple of picks themselves, right? This is what AK Arturas Karnisovas does. He trades down. He is going to find a way to milk everything out of that number 4 overall selection for the Bulls, and I believe that's ultimately what's going to happen. Could the Bulls keep the pick and keep LaMelo? Sure. I just don't think that happens. I think if he falls to them, they take him, they trade him away, all right, to a team that wants him, all right? And there's going to be plenty of suitors for sure that want him, and so I believe the Bulls are looking to do that. And the other thing with LaMelo, man, I just feel like, again, I'm saying I've tried to stay away from the fact that I don't want to mention his family or anything like that. But again, there's been reports about lack of work ethic. Is he about the right stuff? Is he all about the limelight? Blah, blah, blah. Things like that. So again, just not a big fan. And so ultimately, I believe the Bulls are going to keep or not going to let him slip by, but they're going to trade away the pick. All right. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below if you agree with me or disagree with me. As always, thanks for watching.